everybody, it's the Gnome and welcome to the 10th episode of my special segment for 2019 007, A Bondiful Year. If you're new to my channel, first of all, let me just say welcome, it's a pleasure to have you, and I'm really excited to talk about this specific James Bond film because there's a little bit of a backstory to it. You guys know that if you've been watching from the first episode, I talked about how James Bond is such a dear thing to me because of the fact that it's one of the only movie franchises that I will not see in theaters unless I go with my father. But today we're going to be talking about the 1977 James Bond film, once again, with Roger Moore returning, and that, of course, is The Spy Who Loved Me. So why is this one so important? Well, let's remember this date. It's 1977, guys. Some big things have happened in film over the past couple of years thanks to the introduction of the summer blockbuster, some of the biggest new rising stars in Hollywood, including Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, and a specific film comes out this year that pretty much revolutionizes the movie industry. I think you've heard of it. It's called Star Wars. So the big question is, with all of these movies and all of these new and fresh faces coming up in Hollywood's rankings, does James Bond have what it takes to really run with this new class and tell them, guys, James Bond is still one of the better and most exciting film franchises in Hollywood today, and it definitely has the power to become one of your summer blockbusters, or blockbusters in general. And another reason why this movie is so important to me is because of the fact that this is the James Bond film that my mother adores. She, of course, went to see James Bond films with my father because around this time, this was also the same year that my parents got married, and this is the movie that she just couldn't stop raving about. This is her favorite Bond movie. It's also one of my dad's personal favorites, but when it's your mother's personal favorite, you know that there's something truly special because she's not really the biggest film fan. And I've got to say, this was one of the best James Bond films that I have ever seen. Definitely at this point in time, it is in my top 5, maybe even my top 3. Why is this movie so incredible? Well, it's first of all got an amazing story. There's no true gaps or plot holes in this story. It's also got some unique events that take place in this film, because what happens in this film is British intelligence and Russian intelligence form an alliance, yes, an alliance in the middle of the Cold War, no less, because nuclear submarines keep disappearing, and they don't understand why this is happening, and they don't believe that it is themselves, because also the United States has some nuclear submarines that are going missing as well. So when you've got the two biggest nuclear superpowers having serious issues with nuclear submarines, you know that there might be something more afoot in regards to this. And not just that, Russia sends one of their best agents named Agent X to team up with James Bond to try and find out who is behind all of these massive nuclear disappearances. So the first thing that we have to remember is the fact that there is a very interesting opening sequence, because James Bond, of course, is on the run against KGB forces, and he ends up killing a specific one who happened to have been someone that Agent X loved, and she felt that the minute that she found out who killed this man, she will kill the killer. She doesn't know that the killer is James Bond. And when she goes on this mission with James Bond, the two of them fall deeply and madly in love with each other. And when they do, in fact, have the layers peeled back in regards to who is stealing these submarines, the other major secret happens to be revealed, and now the big test between the two of them is going to be, will I jeopardize the mission just for the sake of personal revenge, or will I put my differences aside and actually stop the villain? So this has great stories, a great series of character developments. The chemistry between James Bond and Agent Amasova, who of course is Agent XXX, she's played beautifully by Barbara Bach. The chemistry between the two of them is just absolutely astounding. You feel the love, you feel the deception, you feel the determination to complete their missions. It's just such an amazing story between the two of them that is within this grander story. But probably one of the best things actually is twofold. We get one of the greatest henchmen in all of James Bond, played by the legendary Richard Kiel. You probably remember him as Happy Gilmore's former boss with the nail in his head. He plays the legendary henchman Jaws, a man that is gigantic with a mouth full of metal. His actions truly speak louder than his words because he does not speak. This gargantuan, menacing beast is after James Bond and Agent Amasova, and he shows up in all the unexpected places. Just when they think that they are safe, there's Jaws. Just when they think they've beaten him, there's Jaws. He is just such a presence in this film because he has no dialogue, and the fact that they basically turned him into this legendary face in all of pop culture is just such a wonder to behold. But we also have one of the most underappreciated Bond villains, played by Kurt Jurgens. He plays a villain named Karl Stromberg, who is the one that is taking all of these nuclear submarines and planning to do something that is without a doubt the first time that we ever see true supervillainy in James Bond. I mean, now we've got clever villains like Goldfinger and Blofeld, but we never got someone like Stromberg. He wants to basically destroy the world and then remake it in his image to create his own personal utopia. He's not doing this for money. He's not doing this for the sake of revenge. He's doing this because he wants to play God. I mean, there has never been a James Bond villain who has wanted such power like Karl Stromberg, and that is why I truly love this villain, and that is why he and Jaws, Agent XXX, James Bond, every single one of these characters is just so integral to this incredible story, and not to mention one of the best opening James Bond films performed by the wonderful Carly Simon. It's one of the greatest songs that I've ever heard in the world of James Bond. This is really one of the most perfect packages in the James Bond library. I highly recommend that if there is any James Bond film outside of Goldfinger and Skyfall or GoldenEye, there is no doubt in my mind that you will adore The Spy Who Loved Me. It is definitely one of the best, and I am so glad that I was able to tell my mother I finally saw The Spy Who Loved Me, and you were not wrong, which is why I am giving The Spy Who Loved Me a proud 4 stars out of 4. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below, and let's discuss The Spy Who Loved Me, and I will see you in the next episode. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.